The Egyptian theme sucks, so let's make them British. They literally have a kleptomaniac museum creator with an infinite museum filled with other people's stuff. What's more British than that? Or as we like to say, your history is our history. Are you ready, Susan?
Why don't you like the Egyptians?
They walk funny. I'm going to be making a brand new set of these guys, and I'm going to be adding some 3D printed British paraphernalia to them, starting off with hats. So now we need to do some 3D printing. The only problem I've found, as I always print everything see-through, when you drop something like that, you are never finding that again. So I think I've probably lost about 50% of them, but because I printed so many, I'm still in the clear. Even though the camera that I'm using right now, which is my Google Pixel 8, a great phone, a great camera, still struggles focusing on tiny little details. So to get around that, we're using this. The top hat really does need to make a comeback in the UK, and here we have a fine selection of them. We have the Lincoln top hat. I'm a big fan of this one. It's ridiculous. It's deliberately too big for his head. Although silly, in a weird way, it does kind of make it look like he's in charge. So this is one of my favorites. We also have the standard top hat. I've just called it that because I can't remember what its actual name is. We also have the bowler. I'm a big fan of this one. If you make it really small, it looks like he works at like a fishmonger or something. And this one is a strong contender for being my favorite, just a second place only to the Lincoln, but this is the Mad Hatter hat. It's funny what difference a hat makes. It really does take these guys from looking completely soulless to, now there's something to him. That man's got an interesting thing to say, if he could speak. Now, when you've had your soul and everything that makes you sucked out of you and eaten by some weird star god, it could be a bit of a bummer. So I've given all of these guys nice little therapy dogs to cheer them up a bit. And that is a British Bulldog. The sad thing is, nowadays, it might make more sense if I called it a pug. Which is depressing. Not that I don't like pugs, I don't think they should exist. And they've all got varying little sizes. This one's a little bit smaller, but he's a happy little dog. And he makes this guy's eternal existence just a little bit less miserable. These have came out really nicely. I wasn't expecting the dogs to come out so well. I will put a link in the description below for the chap that made the dog. This is the only thing that I didn't design. Two of our warriors don't actually have a dog, and the reason for that in one of their cases is he just rather have a jar of Marmite. He's just always been a bit of an outsider. People really either just love him or hate him. And the other guy has popped into his favourite British restaurant, so he has left his dog at home, but unfortunately because he's so tall, he's knocked off the sign on the way in. For anyone outside of the UK watching this, all you need to know about Greggs is it's a big fancy restaurant chain owned by a man called Greg. Now you may have noticed all of these guys have got grass on them. That's because they're going to go and have a nice tea in the park. How is it that I've gotten this far into the video without making a reference to a cup of tea? And that's because I'm going to do this now. And this is probably my magnum opus of this video. These are the best thing I have designed in a while. So simple, but so brilliant. Now you can't have a proper tea party without some servers pouring tea for you. So here we have I spent hours making this and I regret none of it. I adore these things. These are brilliant. I have no regrets. The time I put into designing these, all of it was worth it. They look amazing. Because no matter what's going on in the galaxy, no matter who you're attacking, what world you're reawakening, as long as you've got a cup of tea, who really cares? And these things came out great. I mean, just look at them. I'm so happy with how these turned out. This is one of the dumbest things I've ever designed, and that is saying something, but I'm so happy with how they turned out. They are beautifully stupid. Like me. But it's okay, because what I lack in intelligence, I make up for in effort. And on the subject of effort, these were very easy to put together. The teacups were a little bit more fiddly than the hats and the dogs, because obviously they've got to go on a very small surface area, those ridges of the back of those scarabs, whereas the top hats just fit nicely over the head. The most time-consuming thing about this project, as always, was the designing, but even then, I'm pretty sure I cracked out those teapots and the teacups in about an hour. And of course, the jar of Marmite didn't really take that long either. It has a very simple shape. and the hats it's just a cylinder, so that didn't take me that long either. So in total, let's say 5 hours of designing time, probably about 2 hours of printing time, including the reprints, and actually no, let's make that 3. Okay, fine. 12 hours in total to make all of this, including everything, design time, printing time, mistake time, and redoing time, and all of that stuff. That's how long it took to make them. And in terms of painting, it took about 5 minutes. I only used 5 different paints, so I was very lazy when it came to painting. But to be honest, with Necrons, you don't really need much. You know, they're a metal thing, made of metal. The gun's made of metal. It's probably the same stuff. In fact, I'm pretty confident it is the same stuff. If you want to do any of this, the only thing you have to worry about is printing the things, which will be very easy as the files are going to be pre-supported, and then the painting. And that's pretty much it, really, for you. If you do decide to have some British Necrons, and why wouldn't you? I'm a big fan of how these turned out. These look very nice now on my number of here. The audio quality now looks dreadful. But there we go. Oops. That's going to make my streaming background just that little bit more interesting. So all is good. I'd like to say a quick thank you to everyone who joined me whilst I painted these live on Shorts. And so I would like to say thank you to Arthur Smith, Leonard Turkan, Daring Darius, and everyone else that popped in to say hello. And now, before I end, a sneak preview of something else I've been working on, and it is to do with scarabs, so if you'll come with me. And that will be the next video.